Test, test. Let's see. All right. Dum, 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 dum. Hey, what's going on? How we doing tonight? So, please let me know, how is the volume tonight? I listened to a playback of that stream from last night, and the stream volume for the second half of the stream was way too loud. Way too loud. So I got to get that figured out with these newer tracks. So let me know how we doing on volume. How we doing? And yeah, we're not sounds good. What's up, Dark Eyed? What's up, Zach? Merlin, welcome. I don't know if I've ever seen you around before, Merlin. How we doing? Eric Smaraki, what's up, buddy? Eric, let's go. Lindsay Walker, what do you think we're getting at State of Play tomorrow? We're going to talk about that. Ace Pilot Rick Hunter, our guy is a psychic. Eric certainly has a high hit rate. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the love. Appreciate the love and the recognition. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Lindsay, I'm really loving these shots. Is this all? Yeah, that's all from the everything in the waiting room is from the rough cut of the pilot that's up on the YouTube channel right now. So, howdy Merlin, sup Zach, my brother, how we doing? Thank you for coming over here to the Aurora channel tonight, as well as Chris, Dark Eyed, Zach. A lot of the usual suspects tonight. More in person last time. Okay, so you have to refresh my memory. Who, like, where did we meet? What show did we meet at? You don't have to give your name or anything like that, but what show did we meet at? A show or something like that? Well, thank you for being here, whoever you are. Look, this the stuff, all the stuff with Tokyo. I mean, not Tokyo Game Show, but State of Play. I had a few people who were messaging me last week saying it's going to be Wednesday. It's going to be Wednesday. And it's going to be a lot of third-party stuff. And I was like, well, that makes sense. Hey, with Indie PopCon, yeah, that was I was crazy busy at that show. That was the show where I sold out of books. I sold out of Aurora at the Indie PopCon. But thank you for being here for the stream. I appreciate you. I had a lot of people message me last week saying that it's going to be Wednesday, it's going to be a lot of third-party stuff. Square Enix is going to have a surprise, but they didn't say what that surprise was going to be. So I was kind of trolling a little bit on Twitter earlier. I was like, fantastic, finally, fantastic, 7 stars, it's Final Fantasy 7. A lot of people were like, what do you mean by that? I'm like, come on, man, I'm joking around. Or am I? So, but yeah, like, here's the deal. There's going to be a ton. There's going to be a lot of good stuff tomorrow at the show. There's going to be a lot of good stuff at the show tomorrow, and not just like Square Enix stuff. I think we're going to get some surprises. I think we're going to get some shadow drops. The surprise from Square Enix could be something that no one sees coming. It could be something completely new that nobody's talking about. And I'm not speculating on what that could be. I'm not. But I think it could be something wild that no one's thinking about. I would love for some kind of Parasite Eve reboot or even sequel. You don't have to remake it or reboot it. You could make a sequel. Ace Pilot Rick Hunter, get those likes in. Yes, get those likes in. Listen to Ace Pilot Rick Hunter down there. Throw a like on the video. Let people know it's worth stopping in. That's how the algorithm tells everybody it's worth stopping in. Chrono Revival. What's up, Nick? Thanks for coming over to the channel. New Nier would be wicked. Yeah, Nier would be a good. That would be a good option. I'm not the biggest Nier fan, but I know that fan base is mighty. So that would not be amiss if they put out new Nier. I should go back. I should revisit that. I should revisit Nier. I should revisit it just because so many people love it. Everybody's always like, "Oh, what are you doing? You don't play it? You're not into it?" I'm like, "Nah, I just never listened to it, or never watched it, or played it." God, what am I thinking? You can tell I've been running on 3 to 4 hours of sleep all week. But yeah, like, if Sony could go back and remake Wild Arms, the first one, and kind of start over, I think that would be great. The last 2 Wild Arms games on PS2, I think there was one on PS3, they weren't good. But the first 1 or 2 on PlayStation 2 were actually pretty good. Wild Arms 1 and 2 on PS1, and then 3 and 4, or whatever the 4th one was called, on PS2. Those weren't bad. The PS2, the first game on PS2, I think it was Wild Arms 3, had a killer opening. I was like, I know that does not a good game make, but it had a killer opening. But anyway, I digress. Sony said they're going to have news on their first party stuff. Look, I think we're getting a look at Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 tomorrow, full stop. I think we're getting Final Fantasy VII Redemption tomorrow. A look at it. I think we're getting a look at it because, correct me if I'm wrong, and I might be wrong on this because there's been so many of these events and so many of this stuff that my timelines kind of run together in my head at this point, when we got what and when was it positioned. But before TGS 2023, or maybe it was before, maybe it was either before Summer Games Fest, TGS, or the Game Awards 2023. I don't remember which one it was. But Sony jumped in early and announced the state of play just to show Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This kind of has those vibes again. But yeah, so that would be fun. That would be a good way to go. I don't think we're going to see anything for Resident Evil 9 at this. It was announced at Summer Games Fest, but there was a new trailer or something coming, like an exclusive new look, right? And I think it was supposed to be TGS getting that. And my Discord invite link is noted as being invalid. Okay, I'll get that fixed. I'll get that fixed right now. I'll fix it here in a bit. I'll take my first break. I'll go on and fix that. I want you there. So let's see here. Let me open that up. Sometimes if I try to open Discord while I'm streaming, my whole setup just crashes, but we'll see. We'll see if it works. Release date TGS 2023 had the release date trailer, but I think State of Play jumped in. It wasn't a PlayStation Presents. It was State of Play, and the lady showed up at the end. And she was like, "Oh, by the way, we've got one more thing we want to show you." And that was when they dropped that trailer. I'm pretty sure that's how that went down. Like I said, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how that one went down. So, I get those vibes again. Let's see here. Is my volume still okay? It sounds loud on this end. I just want to make sure it's not too loud on your all's end, like the music volume. Let's see. Edit invite link, no limit, expire. See, this is the thing. Never generate new link. Never generate new link. Copy. Okay. So let's see. Edit. Alright, so I put a new Discord link. It's that one right there. So that should be good to go. That should be good to go. I know! Final Fantasy Tactics is coming. That's why I've not been gaming a whole lot lately. I've been trying to work a lot on Araura because all the streaming I'm going to be doing for Tokyo Game Show this weekend and all the streaming I'm going to be doing for Final Fantasy Tactics, look, it's going to be non-stop Final Fantasy Tactics once that drops this weekend. It's going to be non-stop. So I'm trying to brace myself for all the work I'm not going to get done for about a week while I'm just blowing through Tactics, man. So that's one of the reasons I've been on here so much lately. Trying to get things done, trying to get things cleared up so I can basically give myself a week off to play Tactics. That's why I've been on the Araura train so much, which I should be on the Araura train all the time, day and night. But I want to stream with you all too. So this is kind of a happy medium when I can't game and I got too much work to do. I can come on here and still hang out with you all. But yeah, Tactics is going to be dope. So I think it's pretty much a lock. Not for state of play, but for Tokyo Game Show this weekend, that we are going to see. Andy Man, thanks for the sub. Appreciate that. Does TGS have a specific TGS? No, it doesn't. A lot of different companies do their own presentations at Tokyo Game Show. Capcom's got a big Resident Evil 9 event planned, and we are going to see. I think we're going to see Leon this weekend. I think we're going to see Leon's role in the game. The things I was told, and it's kind of come out in the leaks too, so I think this is what they're doing. You're going to get Leon in 2 time periods. You're going to get Leon like in his early 40s, and you're going to get Leon in like his late 40s, early 50s. Like you're going to get him in the past, and you're going to get him in current day. That's what I was told before all these leaks came out. And the leaks I was reading today, it seems like that's what they're doing. And from what I understand, this is going to be Leon's swan song. This is going to be the last time we get Leon in a game as far as a playable character goes. Yeah, we are getting release date and pre-order information and the special edition pre-order special, all that kind of stuff. There is a special edition that I probably won't get because the scalpers get them first usually, and I'll be probably working on something when they announce it. But there is going to be a special edition as well. We're going to get the release date. Pre-orders are going live this weekend, from what I've been told. Pre-orders are going live this weekend, which it's, you know, whatever. I'll probably just wind up getting the mid-deluxe version. I won't get the statue and stuff because there won't be enough to go around. There never is. But I guess that's why it's premium, right? So... but yeah, that all will be going live either this week or next Tuesday. I don't know if a lot of companies like to launch pre-orders over a weekend. I don't see why not. Everybody's off work for the most part, right? I would do it. But that being said, I think it's a cool looking Grace statue. I hope Grace is a good character. Everybody's jumping on Grace like she's going to be a great character. I'm like, let's wait and see. She might suck. She might be annoying. We don't know. From some of the stuff I've heard from some of the voice acting tracks, she has some very annoying dialogue. I hope that's not the case. I really hope that's... I've heard that for a couple of weeks now. That's why I kind of got off the train with Resident Evil 9 a little bit. Because some people were telling me that, like, oh man, apparently they've had to do retakes on her voice dialogue because it's been her original cuts were annoying, and some of those cuts are still in the game. I was like, man, I hope not. At least the third person stuff looks great. At least the third person stuff looks great. Yeah, Leon already got one. It probably would be Grace. It'd be interesting to see, like, it'll be interesting to see what all comes with it, right? I think a cool art book is a must, right? But anyway, Final Fantasy Tactics coming. The Adventure of Elliot is coming. Hopefully they announce a playable demo for PlayStation 5 this weekend. Or tomorrow. See, that's my big... I know it doesn't sound like a big thing, but for those of us who don't own a Switch 2, it's been about a month, right? It's been about a month, 30 days. If you were going to do like a timed demo exclusive for Adventures of Elliot, State of Play might announce tomorrow that there's going to be a playable demo available tomorrow. If that is the case, we will be playing Adventures of Elliot's demo tomorrow night on the gaming channel. So we'll see. We will see. I'm excited to speculate on like what other things can be coming. Sega has a ton of stuff we haven't seen yet. They just dropped Shinobi. I bet Sega wants to get to a point where they're cranking out 3 of these games a year. And I think they could. Like, I want to see Altered Beast. I want to see Rystar. We know we're getting Jet Set Radio. We know we're getting the other classics from them. And we'll see. We'll see. And what's going to be... I think we're going to get like an anime property game announced this weekend as well. Like a new one. It's probably going to be some shonen beat 'em up. But man, I wish they'd do like a new Berserk game. I would love a new Berserk game. Is it Tales of Elliot? I thought it was Adventures of Elliot. The Adventure of Elliot. Is it Tales of Elliot? Yeah, Yakuza 3's been rumored for a while that that's happening. Sega's got a lot on that. But these Sega Classics remasters they're doing, that Shinobi game, I haven't gotten to it yet. But that's another game on my backlog pile that I have to get to. That one looks great. It is great. I played the demo. It's amazing. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm really excited about the industry after this weekend. It's going to be very clear on what direction the industry is trying to go. Like what direction the industry, as far as like listening to the fans, listening to the direction, like looking at the marketing. I think the industry is going to go whatever direction Japan wants to go now. Because the Western industry has been floundering for a while. Like missteps and slipping here and slipping there and continually slipping on banana peels and dropping the pans in the kitchen. I mean, Western devs haven't been making bad games, but something about the business of how they're going about things, they're slipping. So I think they're going to start leaning heavily in the direction of whatever Japan wants to do. And I think we're going to get a better idea for that this weekend. I think that's why TGS is going to be so important this weekend. This might be the most important TGS of all time, outside of like a new console launch. Like, you know, I guess you could consider this the Switch 2 console launch, but the Switch 2 is just a really, 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 really late PS5, Xbox Series X. It's like really late to the party. It's not like the Switch 2 isn't like innovative. It's late to the party. But we'll see. And the Switch 2 stuff with the cartridge things and the proprietary, you know, whatever they're doing with their business, I don't know what's going on with that. I hope other people don't follow suit on that. Like, that direction can stay on Nintendo Island. I want my games on my shelf. I want my physical games on my shelf. So no thank you to all of that. But yeah, Square Enix dropped the Nintendo. Yeah, I saw Square Enix drop the trailer. Yeah, so we will probably see that tomorrow at State of Play. We will probably see that trailer there, and I could see them announcing a demo available later today, or demo available now. on PlayStation Store. Which, if that's the case, I am all over it. We're gonna play the hell out of that game. What time is State of Play tomorrow? Is it in the morning or the afternoon? Whilst chewing, I mute the mic. It's only appropriate, right? So yeah, what time is State of Play tomorrow? 5 Eastern Time. I will be at work. Damn it. I will be at work. So I'll have to come on tomorrow night and stream it and do my best not to see anything whilst working. But that's okay. I don't look at my phone hardly when I'm working anyway because I'm so busy. So it'll be pretty easy to not see or be spoiled for anything. So I feel strongly. Yeah, I'll post a no spoilers thing on Discord. I'll create a channel on the Discord where you all can talk about it, and I won't look at that channel. Yeah, just don't be dropping it in general. So I'll create that channel tonight. But as forgetful as I am, if you all don't see it, remind me on Discord and I'll do that. Super Edition, the Give Me Everything edition of Resident Evil 9. Well, you know, and that's the other thing, is that, you know, they could announce that pre-orders are going live tomorrow. I meant to hit on that earlier when we were talking about Resident Evil 9, and I forgot to. They're doing a big presentation for it this weekend, but there's nothing saying they can't show a quick trailer and show the Give Me Everything edition for Resident Evil 9 and say, you know, pre-orders are live now, you know. That's the thing. With this State of Play they're doing tomorrow, it could be a lot of things that are available now, like shadow dropping like an indie game available now, you know, demo for Tales of Elliot or Adventure of Elliot available now, pre-orders for Resident Evil 9 available now, you know, that kind of stuff. I could see State of Play being that tomorrow. And this God of War game, right? God of War. It's just called God of War. It's like an indie, like Metroidvania God of War, something like that. And Castlevania. I want to talk about this a little bit because since I threw it out there in the ether, I've had people telling me, like, well, you may not be wrong about Castlevania in the works. I don't think anything's happening right now. Anybody could say something like that. You know what I mean? Oh, it might be in the works. Well, you may as well not be saying anything. But, you know, it's one of those deals where you kind of... What do I think? Like, I want Castlevania to happen. I really want Castlevania to happen. But we'll see. They've let that brand die so much. I want to see it happen. I hope it happens, but I'm not really sure if it's going to happen. So we will see. We will see. I'm really interested, though, in what if we see something for Final Fantasy Tactics. I don't think we will, because we're so close. It comes out this weekend, and I can wait at this point. I can wait for any kind of like new information or news or anything like that for Final Fantasy Tactics. I can wait till I play it this weekend. Because what's the date? It's the 27th, right? Tactics. So when is... No, wait, that's not the 27th. Is it the 29th? Let me look. Final Fantasy Tactics release date. Because I've got it pre-ordered. I want to make sure that... Let's see. Ivalice Chronicles. Release date. September 30th. Oh, it's next week. Okay. Okay. For some reason I thought it was like the 27th or 29th or something like the 30th. Thank you. It's the 30th. But for brains, are you transgender? No, I am not. I am not. Straight as an arrow. But nothing wrong with whatever you are. You be you. You do you. Everybody do you. Tuesday the 30th. Okay, well that buys me a few more days of working on stuff then. Because I was afraid. I was afraid it was Friday for some reason. And I was like, oh my god, I got to get everything done by Friday. Have to get everything done by Friday. I've got till Tuesday now. Because I do want to get through the Scenario B for Resident Evil 2. And I'm kind of perplexed. That playthrough of Resident Evil 2 I was doing the other night, I thought I did enough to get the rocket launcher. I guess I didn't. I didn't have anything waiting for me in the box when I got back there with Claire. Nothing. But I don't think you have to get through... I don't think you have to get through both scenarios. I think you just have to get through one of them. But anyway. But yeah, so Tokyo Game Show this weekend, everybody's going to be there. And State of Play, I think, is going to be like throwing up some softballs for people to kind of knock out of the park at Tokyo Game Show this weekend. I hope State of Play kind of works that way a little bit. I hope there's a lot of like teaser news. Hey, check out more this weekend. Hey, we'll also be at Tokyo Game Show. Check this out. They could show tactics just to try to drum up sales a little bit more for it. I could see that happening, but I don't think it's going to be necessary. I think the people who want to play tactics and get tactics, they're already either know about it or they've already got it pre-ordered, or you know, I think those initial sales are in. So, knowing Sony, they may show Ghost of Yotei, even though it's coming in 2 weeks, and they might show tactics. Yeah, Ghost of Yotei, I think they're kind of worried about those pre-sales, those early sales figures. I think it'll do okay. I don't think it's going to do bad. Again, I think with gaming anymore, I think a lot of people have to pick and choose where they want to put their, not their dollars, but their time, right? I think that's why Resident Evil does so well, because, you know, you don't have to chalk out 40, 50 hours to play Resident Evil, you know? And everybody's trying to get on one side or the other of the spring Grand Theft Auto 6 release, right? Which, if everybody's afraid to release a game when Grand Theft Auto comes out, then that's an industry killer. That's not good for the industry. That's good for Rockstar Games. That's not good for the industry. But I know plenty of people who don't play Grand Theft Auto and can give a shit. I don't play Grand Theft Auto and could give a shit. Ghost of Yotei was the budget of Ghost of Tsushima. Well, that would make sense, right? That would actually be really good, because I think Tsushima was developed for PS4, I believe, right? It was developed for PS4, and then this Ghost of Tsushima was developed for PS5. So I guess that's a good thing, right? Possibly. Quite possibly. Alright, I'm going on mute. I'm taking another bite. That's a good burrito. Luis, new Devil May Cry trailer for FF7 Part 3 and Kingdom Hearts 4. All this wishful thinking. Well, new Devil May Cry isn't wishful thinking. FF7 Part 3 trailer isn't wishful thinking. Capcom, I think, I haven't heard anything. I don't know anything. No one knows anything unless you work there, obviously, but I feel like there's a Devil May Cry 1 remake in the works at Capcom. I really feel like they're working on a remake of Devil May Cry 1. Call me crazy. Maybe it's wishful thinking on my part, but I think that's happening. I think that's happening. And for me, the first Devil May Cry is still the best Devil May Cry. Not that the other ones aren't good. Even 2, I like 2 okay. People hate 2, it's okay. 2's not bad. It's not a bad game. I didn't like 4 as much as I like 2. 3 is really good. 3 is the second best of all of them. And we know FF7 Part 3 is coming. I think there's a shot we see it tomorrow. There's definitely a shot we see it at TGS. There's definitely a shot we see it this weekend. Something. And I think we definitely see a trailer by the end of the year. But I think there's an outside shot we see a trailer tomorrow. Now, I feel way better about a trailer tomorrow than I did at Summer Games Fest, when everybody was coming out and they were just content whoring, right? They were just trying to farm content, and they were like, oh man, look, you know, I think this is going to happen. And like, no, shut up. It's not happening yet. I think it could happen tomorrow. I get this feeling that Sony is sitting on something they just want to unleash. And they want to get people excited for Sony at Tokyo Game Show this weekend. They want to get people buzzing and talking about Sony PlayStation brand at Tokyo Game Show this weekend. So maybe that's not third party related, but this is a third party focus tomorrow with some news about first person stuff. Onimusha, we're definitely gonna get some more Onimusha tomorrow. We're definitely going to get Onimusha tomorrow. Mega Man, I've been beating that drum for a couple of years now. There's a way to do Mega Man that would be amazing. I know Breath of Fire. People talk about Breath of Fire and Dino Crisis a lot. I don't think that Capcom cares about Dino Crisis. I think they look at Breath of Fire as kind of their Final Fantasy. Well, I know that's kind of how they look at it there. But they don't know if Breath of Fire will do the numbers in the West that they want. It's not going to do Resident Evil numbers in the West. It's not going to do Monster Hunter numbers in the West. RPGs just don't. But it could still do well. Breath of Fire is a hell of a series. They need to get back to it. I agree with you. Kingdom Hearts 4 is not anytime soon. Square Enix is trying to put all their AAA muscle behind Final Fantasy VII Remake Saga, getting this third game out now, making as best they can and being done with that and moving on. I think there's people internally that really regret deciding to make this a 3-game kind of venture. But that's all hearsay. I am excited for Wolverine. I'm excited to see something for Wolverine. Like, we need to see something first. I'm excited. I talked about it on Discord a little bit the other day. Yeah. I mean, we just have to kind of wait and see, you know. And I'm sure it's going to be great. I can't wait to see what kind of mechanics they have for Logan and what kind of missions they have. Dude, it's got to be bloody. I mean, maybe that's what's taking so long. It has to be bloody. I mean, you can't just have, like, unless he's just fighting robots the whole time and slashing guns and machinery and stuff. I mean, nobody wants that. It's got to be bloody. There's no way a Wolverine game can't be bloody. It's going to have to be bloody. And I don't know how you can do a proper Wolverine game and not have it rated mature. I just don't. And maybe that's what they're struggling with right now. Yeah, that's what we've talked about, Chris. You know, it's definitely all hands on deck for FF7 Part 3. For sure. Even them, as many missteps as Square's had in the past, even they know this has to be the best game they've ever put out. This has to be the best production they've ever done. It has to go out with a massive bang. All hands on deck, all best creatives on the project, everybody there, in there, working, getting it done. So I think that's what we're going to get. Breath of Fire 3 and 4 are certified bangers. Nick, you are correct. You are correct, sir. Absolutely. But Capcom, we'll see. Capcom can do no wrong in the gaming sphere right now. No, that was Teen. The Wolverine game, X2. The X2 Wolverine game. I'm pretty sure that was rated teen. I had that. I played through a ton of that. That was a fun game. Very repetitive, but it, you know, collecting the dog tags, get all the collectibles and stuff. That was fun. If PS1 and PS2 era games had trophies and achievements, I would have had a lot of platinums. Tales of Zelia, yes sir, yes sir. That is day one. That is day one. I hope we see more about that in the next few days. I want to see if they've done any other like quality of life kind of things in that game. Well, I kind of remember Fantasia. I don't remember Penny Blood. Fantasia tried to be Wild Arms-ish, but it was not nearly as good. Oh, wait, am I thinking about the right thing? Penny Blood. I've never heard of Penny Blood. Oh, no. I'm thinking of a different game. I'm sorry. Not Fantasia. I'm thinking of it's an Xbox game. God, what was that? I'm going to look that up now. Here, hang on. That's going to bug me. I can't think of it now. I can't seem to find it with a quick search. But yeah, there was an Xbox game on the 360, or I think it was 360 era. That's supposed to be Wild Arms Light, or like. And it wasn't very good. I thought that's what you were talking about. New in development, I don't know. Isn't there a new, what's the new one in development from Sega? It's a remake of... Lost Odyssey is great. No, Lost Odyssey is great. That's a fantastic game. That's more like Final Fantasy. Lost Odyssey is definitely Final Fantasy inspired. That's a fantastic game. I'd love to go back and play that again. Yeah, Lost Odyssey was the big RPG on 360. Thank you, Nick. This is actually Renzia's battle theme from the Araura soundtrack. This is the Araura soundtrack we're listening to over here on the channel right now. But yeah, this is Renzia's getting down and fighting theme song. X-Men for Marvel Tokon Fighting. That game looks fun. That is definitely the Marvel vs. Capcom answer. It looks good. We'll wait and see if it plays good. I'm sure it will, though. With all the people they got on that game. Too bad I suck at fighting games. I'd stream them. I love playing them. I suck at them, though. I'm definitely not a competitive fighting game guy. Don't even do it, Luis. Don't even get me on that. God, man. You would see a man lose his mind. You would see a man lose his mind. God, dude, that would be amazing. Amazing. Hang on a second. I'll be right back.
Have you
Alright, I'm back. Had to smash the rest of my burrito. It was getting cold. Alright, so now I can focus. I'm not hungry anymore. I can focus. But yeah, man, like there's a ton of stuff. Like, and I love when you all chime in the chat and talk about that, because like it makes me think about other things I was going to talk about. I always wing it when I come off these streams. I want to come off real, not scripted. I'll write notes down sometimes, but I just want to come on and be off the cuff about this stuff, because I don't know, guys. I think there's a big surprise in store for us either tomorrow or Saturday. I think there's going to be a big surprise. And I would love for it to be Chrono Trigger, but I just can't. I can't hold my breath on Chrono Trigger anymore. I just can't. And that sucks to say. I'm a huge Chrono Trigger fan. I don't care if it only sells 100,000 copies. I want that game. I think it would sell way more than that. I would be championing it on my channel. I would be championing Chrono Trigger on my channel. No question. No question. I would be a Chrono Trigger channel if that remake was announced. I love Final Fantasy VII, but it's had its heyday. It's yeah. 9 remake, maybe. You know, I don't know what's going on. I know it's not canceled, but I don't know what's going on with it right now. I think if I had to guess, if I just had to make a guess, Square Enix has all hands on deck for Final Fantasy VII Remake Saga so far. I think if that was in the middle of development or in the early part of development, they could have pulled people off of it to finish up this game. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like, well, that's the thing. Live Alive, no one knew that game. No one knew what that game was except for a few hardcore people like myself that played it on like ROMs or an emulator. That was it. Like badly translated emulation of that game. And it still sold 500,000 copies. Just because it had Square Enix's name on it. And it looked like a Super Nintendo era RPG, which it was. You know? You put Chrono Trigger out, look, they gotta know. I mean, there's no way they can't know that. There's just no way they cannot know that. I'm sorry. If it came out that they didn't know that, I'd be like, you all need to hand in your resignations. You all need to hand in your resignations. Everybody in business and marketing up there, hand in your resignations yesterday. If you don't know that game could hit 3 million, no problem. That game would hit 5 million with little problem. Oh, I know, Luis. Well, something's going to have to break. Like, these things happen, like the ceiling starts to drop on everybody, you know, and the room is caving in. This happens every 10 to 15 years, you know. Oh, the sky is falling, you know, it's, you know, games are, remember the PS3 era? Games were in the toilet. Like, the game industry was circling the drain. Square Enix was in the toilet. Everybody had to talk themselves into like believing 13 was a good game. And 12 has its problems. I like 12. But the problems people had with 12, they loved 13 for. And I'm like, well, 13's not as good of a game. It was a confusing, my point is, it was a confusing time for Square Enix because they had no identity. Final Fantasy had lost its identity completely. I love 12 because it was a return to kind of high fantasy. You know, and 13, like, I didn't know what that was. Like, as far as like having an identity, it really didn't have an identity. It's like almost nothing. It felt like nothing was cut thematically or art direction wise from that game. Nothing was cut. Nothing was edited. Whatever. I kind of feel like we're there again. And me and a couple of other people, content creators, I won't say by name, we've been having conversations about, you know, what is going on with Square Enix right now. They don't seem to know who they are. They don't know. They really don't. They don't have an identity. Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm not a Kingdom Hearts fan, but even Kingdom Hearts fans were like, what is this? You know, what is this? Like Final Fantasy 16, 15. Final Fantasy fans were like, you know, what is this? I get you were trying to do a thing, but like you're slipping. You're slipping. On your biggest franchises, you're slipping or you're sleeping. They're either slipping or sleeping. They're not putting out hits. They're just not. They're not, like if they did like a new Nier right now. Nier Automata, that game is cruising on, what, 10, 15-year-old goodwill and good vibes? What's a banger? What is a can't-miss banger that Square Enix has put out without Final Fantasy VII on the title? And even Remake and Rebirth have some issues. Remake had a lot of issues. Rebirth was a great game. Had some issues. Nothing's perfect, of course. But, you know, outside of that, what is a can't-miss banger without Final Fantasy VII in the title that Square Enix has put out in the last 10 years? Yeah, Nier Automata. Right? Nier Automata, that was it. Kingdom Hearts 3 was a... I'm not a Kingdom Hearts fan. I don't know enough about it, so I didn't play it. But I've heard enough to know that people were disappointed with it. Remake, you know, that the divide it put in the fan base. Square lost a lot of lifetime fans when Remake came out. They just did. You know, you can disagree with it, and you can disagree with the opinions of those people, and I do, mostly, but their opinions are valid. We can disagree, but it doesn't change the fact that Square Enix lost half of the Final Fantasy VII fan base when Remake came out. That's crazy. That's real. That is real statistics. That is real. Yeah, Octopath 2 is not a big AAA game. It's not Final Fantasy. It's not Nier. It's not... I keep wanting to say Toy Story. It's not Kingdom Hearts. I keep wanting to call Kingdom Hearts Toy Story for some reason. But yeah, so Octopath Zero, it's not going to be a AAA game. Adventures of Elliot, or The Tales of Elliot, whatever that game's called. That's not going to be a big AAA game. It's just not. Avengers was a disaster. The Avengers was a disaster. The Tomb Raider games did not sell well. The Hitman games did not sell well. Oh yeah, okay, well that's a great point. But that was 2013. You know, in the last 10 years, well I did say in 15, didn't I? 10 to 15. Well, in the last decade, they haven't done anything. Oh, is that true, Peach Booty? I know a lot of the screenshots I saw for I did it again. All the screenshots I saw for Kingdom Hearts 3, or a lot of them were Toy Story shots. So I guess that's why I keep saying that. But yeah. What is, and this could be a whole separate stream on its own we could talk about. But what is a certified banger in the last 10 years for Square Enix? I can't think of one that doesn't have Final Fantasy VII in the title. I can't think of one. Period. And I say that to say this, you know, they need a hit. They need to get back to what they do. Yeah, the Avengers game was a mess. And here's the thing, anytime anymore, if I see a product coming out like a video game or like a, well, mainly a video game, and you see more vignettes of actors sitting around talking about what the game meant to them, to voice these characters and everything, I see more of that than gameplay. I know it's a pass. I know I'm passing on it. Because there's a reason they're not just blowing your doors off with gameplay. Blowing your doors off with... You think Devil May Cry 5 ever thought about doing vignettes with the cast? But, oh man, I love playing these characters. No! They just blew your doors off with constant and incredible gameplay, footage, all that shit. Resident Evil 2, the remakes, all that kind of stuff. They're not doing behind the scenes, I can't believe I'm getting to play Leon Kennedy. It's such a great character. What an amazing journey it was to get to know that character. No, they didn't do all that because they didn't have to. Like, here's Resident Evil 2 remake. You're welcome. Pre-orders up now. Cinema. That's it. Square Enix doesn't have anything they can do that with. Not right now. Final Fantasy VII Remake Saga. And what was the joke before they announced Final Fantasy VII Remake in 2015? The emergency button. Final Fantasy VII was the emergency button. They hit it. Since they hit the button, they still haven't made anything great. There's a reason people made that joke. We gotta hit the Final Fantasy VII emergency button. There's a reason people made that joke. Because their games were slipping and sleeping. I'm just saying, I love that company, or maybe I should say I loved that company. I loved that company from 1990 to 2006, even 2007. But in the last almost 20 years, we won't even talk about Forspoken. In the last 20 years, you can say Final Fantasy 14, that's fine. The part about Final Fantasy 14 people don't want to realize is World of Warcraft gamers were looking for something new to get into. And that's not to take anything from the quality of 14. But had World of Warcraft not had all that bullshit going on at Activision Blizzard, Final Fantasy 14 wouldn't have picked up all the players they picked up. That was a business thing. There was a sea change happening. And all those MMORPG players had to find another big MMORPG to jump onto. Enter Yoshi P, come in, save that game, save the game from what it was. Had Final Fantasy XIV launched as a Final Fantasy game, as it was when it came out, it would have bombed, it would have been sucked, it would have been one of the worst Final Fantasies ever made. But it's a games as a service. It's every quarter, we update the story, we do more, we do this, we can relaunch the game again with new features. It's not the same thing. So yes, Final Fantasy XIV is in the discussion for bangers for Square Enix, but it's kind of not too, because it's kind of like being able to put a thing out for customers and then fine tune it and revise it and completely change it over the course of 5 to 6 years, and people are still paying to play it. So that's kind of a little bit different. Had it just released as a standalone Final Fantasy with the story as it was, everything Final Fantasy XIV, that game would have bombed. And it may have killed the franchise. Just saying. Just being real talk. But Square Enix just needs another big company to go under so they can cannibalize the fan base. so they can bring and absorb that fan base. Not cannibalize is the wrong word. They absorb that fan base. And Dragon Quest is actually doing good. Dragon Quest is doing very well. I guess you could say Dragon Quest XI was a hit, right? Chris, you could say Dragon Quest XI was a hit. What was that, like 2019? Let's see. Oh, 2017. Oh wow. Okay, I was way off on that one. I think I started playing it in 2019. I got around to it. Let's see. Alright, so it's about 7 million copies, or 8.5 million copies worldwide. Okay. Dragon Quest XI is 8.5 million sales. Okay. So yeah, I'd throw that in there. Yeah, Square Enix is sitting on Parasite Eve, which is a great horror game. There are 3 Parasite Eve games, right? Parasite Eve 1, 2, and then the third birthday or something like that. But yeah, that totally sounds like the third birthday. That kind of sounds like a Death Note movie title. Death Note, the third birthday. But yeah, I want Square to do well. But I don't know, man. I think mentally I'm kind of moving on from Square Enix. Like, I'm ready to get through I'm ready to get through Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 and figure out if I'm still with Square or if I'm done with their business. Because, what up, Rick G? How we doing? I want Square to do well, but I feel like I've been saying that for 10 years. And now I'm just to a point where I'm like, look, if y'all don't want to do well, I'm going to pay attention and give money to someone who does want to do well. What was it? Valkyrie Elysium was terrible. I thought we were going to go back to the PlayStation 2 heyday of the Valkyrie franchise. Valkyrie Elysium was terrible. It was fun for the first 3 levels, then it was like the same thing for every level after that. I don't think Parasite Eve has licensing issues, because that was a Square Enix production. I would love Xenogears. That is one of the greatest RPGs ever made. I display it proudly right there on the shelf, right next to my Japanese sealed Final Fantasy VII, Record of Lodoss War, Resident Evil Code Veronica, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Chrono Trigger, Link to the Past. Some of my favorite games of all time. I would appreciate just a Xenogears remaster. I would appreciate that. I think that would be wonderful. You know, you could remaster these games and release them on current consoles just so we can go back and play them, you know. The East series, I would love a complete remaster of the full East series. I would love that. That would be amazing. And I don't know. I know these games companies want to move forward and not look backward. But sometimes you got to look at where you've been to figure out where you're going. And I think that's true in life. I think that's true in business. And I think that's true with these game companies too. Capcom did that. Now look at CapGod. Capcom was floundering. They didn't know their head from their ass for a while. Their flagship franchises were sinking. Street Fighter was sucking. Resident Evil was sucking with Part 6 when it came out. There are other games that were just trash, right? Devil May Cry remained constant, but Devil May Cry 4 fell into that era of Capcom not being good. Devil May Cry 4 and DMC, don't even get me started on DMC. It was around DMC, Resident Evil 6, Street Fighter, what was it, 4? And a few other titles where you could see Capcom took a long look at themselves. They looked back, it's like, what did we do great before? And then they had that big business restructuring. What did we do great before? How do we get back to that in a modern day? How do we get back to that on these new consoles, with this new technology, with all these storytelling and gameplay tools at our disposal, more than we could have ever dreamed of? What can we make now? Boom, Resident Evil 2 Remake. Boom, Devil May Cry 5. Boom, Street Fighter 6. I mean, and Devil May Cry 5, Resident Evil 2, and the Street Fighter revamp, and other games from Capcom too. Now they got Onimusha reboot coming out. This is the Iron Warriors coming out of the fire, walking out of the forge. You know, the forge was, the coals were cold. There was no fire in the forge. And then they came along in 2015, 2016 and started relighting the forge, right? Started relighting that MFer. And then now all these iron golems are just coming out. Just boom, boom. That's Capcom right now. That's Capcom, because they looked at where they were, and they looked at where they are, and they looked at where they wanted to go. They took a deep look at themselves, and they had an honest conversation with themselves that said, we are not putting out the product and being as good as we could be. How do we forge forward? Until Square Enix does that, they will just continue to circle the drain. They got lucky with Final Fantasy VII Remake Saga. That bought them some goodwill. They blew that goodwill on Forspoken. They blew that goodwill on the Avengers. They blew that goodwill on games like Valkyrie Elysium and stuff like that. Now you've got Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster coming out. This is a can't miss. Like, remastering and adding quality of life stuff to Final Fantasy Tactics and letting us play it now, that's a can't miss. So if there is in any way, shape, or form this game is bad or not as good as the original, they're going to have some explaining to do. They're going to have some shit to answer for. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see. But I hope for a good surprise from them tomorrow. I hope we get something over the weekend at Tokyo Game Show, something to get excited about. But we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back, and we can keep talking it up, and I'm going to get on to some animation production, but we can talk about whatever y'all want. I'll be right back. All right. Loved Earthbound back in the day. I wasn't like a huge Earthbound fan, but I remember playing it. It was a good game. All right. Get this microphone set up properly here. There we go. Okay. Put you there, put you there. All right. So, what I'm working on tonight is a little action sequence. As you can see it playing through here. I've got it roughed, how this is supposed to look. We'll be working on getting the tie downs done and tie downs. Maybe doing some in-betweening. All the keyframes are set or sketched, and I'll be going in trying to get some tie downs done for the keyframes, doing some in-betweening. No, I don't think Microsoft announces anything tomorrow. They've already announced a price hike. So, I think that's the big announcement they had in them right now. So, let's see. Do I want to... Okay, so this is just here. Boom. Yep. What's going on here? What is happening here? Let's see. My this is not working. There we go. Got it. Got it. What was going on there? I'm doing my tie downs. I like to kind of just keep my lines loose. See, we're drawing a 3 right now. Let's see, should I... No, I'll do this. There we go. At this point, Omaku still has his hood on. Okay. Okay. Everything's getting announced tonight. Okay. What is my inspiration for drawing? Do you mean like what first inspired me to draw, or what inspires me to keep drawing, or what am I motivated by? Like, what do you mean by that, Luis? Like, what inspires me to do what I do every day is just this need I have to just entertain people with storytelling. Like, what inspires me to make things the way I make them, like with animation and illustration and things like that, is I guess the same thing that makes me a fan of everything that I'm a fan of currently, and in life in general. I have a need and a desire. Well, I feel like the reason I'm here on this planet is to help people escape from their day to day. It's kind of what I do when I'm streaming with all of you all and playing games. Just to create escapism. That motivates me. To create escapism for people who are fans of my work, who are fans of my artwork and my comics and the eventual animation that we'll get out and the other projects that I'm going to be working on and collaborating with other people on. Just my need to create a distraction from life. That's what motivates me to draw. I hope that answers your question. Who is my favorite artist or artists? Who is my inspiration? Oh, okay. Well, that's a different question. The artists I always grew up admiring were, first up, Yasuhiro Naito, the creator of Trigun, Gungrave. I always loved the way his characters looked, the way his ink work looked. I always loved the way that looked. Tite Kubo, the creator of Bleach. I always loved his artwork. My two biggest artistic inspirations, though, are Yoshitaka Amano and Kentaro Miura. There's a bunch of others in there. See, I love the artwork of Ayami Kojima from the Dracula X Castlevania series. Not you, Siri. I don't know why she came up. There's a bunch of others, but Yoshitaka Amano, Kentaro Miura, I would even say Nobuteru Yuki is in there as well. Yuki is the artist for Record of Lodoss War, the anime. He also does a bunch of, he did the Chrono Cross character designs. He's a fantastic artist. So yeah, those guys really motivate me. Jim Lee's in there. Jim Lee's in that. But those are my big ones. Ew, I'm butchering that. There we go. Oh yeah, Absolutely, yeah. There are a lot of different mangaka who are a big influence on artists these days. It's really kind of the same as it was in the 80s and 90s for 80s and 90s kids who they didn't have a lot of like Japanese or Korean art influences over here just because it wasn't readily available for people. You would see the art in video games and stuff like that and be like, oh, that's cool looking, you know, but you wouldn't know the artist because there wasn't a lot of manga, wasn't a lot of anime over here. Weren't even a lot of art books accessible or anything like that. So it wasn't really until the 2000s when people started being influenced by those creators. But I was always a big fan of anime in the 90s. I was one of the rare kids over here who were into that kind of thing and would desperately seek out those things. Anytime I was in a big city with anything for my dad, I'd scour. There'd be a bookstore every now and then you'd find that would have like New Type or something like that. And I would always scour bookstores and secondhand stores and record stores and stuff for that stuff. So that was always where I drew my influence from. And aesthetically, for the animated series that I'm working on for Araura, especially with like background paint, like I've had to learn how to paint backgrounds. I was never a background guy, and I would say I'm still not. But the art of shows like Full Metal Alchemist, Record of Lodoss War, Ghost in the Shell, you can go on and on. Inuyasha, that, I forget her name, forgive me, off the top of my head. Rumiko, so let me see, Inuyasha. I feel like I should know that name right off the top of my head. Yeah, Rumiko Takahashi. I did know it. Okay, sorry. I thought I was getting ready to say the wrong name. Rumiko Takahashi. I love the backgrounds in Inuyasha. So when I was doing the aesthetic for the animated series for Araura, I was like, okay, Ray, you can draw characters, you can draw stuff, but you really got to learn how to draw backgrounds. You got to learn how to paint backgrounds and do it the right way, because you can't have... When early on, I had someone helping me out with backgrounds, and some things happened, and it didn't work out. And then it became very obvious to me I was going to have to learn how to paint backgrounds. And dude, I was dreading it. But I was like, okay, well, if you're going to do this, you got to do it. So I didn't have enough money to pay a bunch of background artists for backgrounds and stuff. It was what it was. Independent production, got to make this thing, got to prove it, got to do it. So I'd start learning how to paint backgrounds. So what I did is I dived deep into a bunch of anime from the 90s and 2000s. I found anime with backgrounds that I absolutely adored the way they looked, with the watercolor and the painting and everything. I dived into hours and hours, days of video and self-teaching about what inspired the stuff, what is the process, how can I repeat that process digitally for the backgrounds of shows like Record of Lodoss War, Full Metal Alchemist, Inuyasha, Ghost in the Shell, Outlaw Star, shows like that. Those are the 5 I focused on. So how can I bring that aesthetic to life? How can I make that some kind of hybrid, those 5 titles, with what I do? How can I make that Araura? And it was a couple of years of figuring it out. And some of, like that first Araura trailer I put up back in 2022, I want to say it was, or 2021, the backgrounds weren't terrible, but they weren't what I can do now. And you're seeing 3 years of practice and stuff. So one of the things that goes kind of unheralded is the look of backgrounds, because in Araura, the world is almost like a character. Sereth is almost like a character, so you have to do it justice. So Rumiko Takahashi was a big inspiration in that as well. Like Inuyasha, the style, all that. I love Inuyasha. I was saying to a couple of people the other day, I was having a conversation about you know, animation and animating and the business of and the practice of. And I was like, one of the anime that really don't get a lot of love and really should, is Inuyasha. Because people forget around 2002, 2003, that was the hotness, man. It was Inuyasha and Full Metal Alchemist. That was the hot ticket right there here in the States. It's almost sad that Full Metal Alchemist and Inuyasha didn't get to experience this anime heyday that we're having now. I feel like had those titles came out like now, they would be crazy popular. Crazy popular. But it missed the boat. It doesn't get to enjoy that. So I think that's kind of sad, because those were very pivotal shows pointing me in the direction of what I wanted to do. So, but yeah, so take that as you will. Trying to figure out what the best way to do my microphone setup here is while I'm working. Let's see. Put the tie down there. Boom, nope. Boom, yes. So he's still got, so one of the challenges of what I'm doing right now is, like, I decided that for the OVA that Omaku here, the assassin, is going to have like a hood on. And this is actually going to be the sequence where he loses his hood and you see who he is, the big reveal. Like, you all have seen the shot of him staring in the fire with his hair blowing. You've been seeing that shot for about 3 or 4 years. This is how we get to that shot. Like, I've had to supplement and add things and inject new things in. This is how we get to that shot. So when I've decided I was gonna redo some things for the OVA, the 45-minute OVA that I'm producing right now, and we weren't just doing like an episode 1 and episode 2, I had to start filling in shots, and that's what you're seeing here is like a filler shot. We're not just doing a flashback of the opening battle, we're doing the full opening battle. That's how we're opening the OVA. So the challenge of that, though, has been trying to figure out, you know, how to mysteriously reveal him. And I think the best way is to just make him like this hooded kind of assassin, and then he's about to actually just lose his hood, exposing him for who he is. And that is a reveal in itself, because this is a character who is known, a former hero in his own right, all of a sudden attacking Anea and these people that are trying to protect her for some unknown reason. I've thought about making some other kind of design changes to him, but for now we're going to keep things as they are. I don't like that. It's a little better. We can fix it in the final pass. You know, something else I didn't get back to playing was the Oblivion remake. Just totally forgot about that after Clear Obscure. Just completely forgot about it after Clear Obscure. Completely just gone. Which is sad, because I was really looking forward to playing that. And I'll get back to it at some point. Alright, there we go. It's a decent looking tie down. Let's see how we're looking so far. Boom. Okay. Still got a hood on. But I really want that hair flipping around. What can I do? I guess I could just make the hood flip it around, huh? Yeah, we'll do that. That'd be a good compromise. Let's make the hood flip around. There we go. We'll see how that looks. I think I actually kind of like that better. Okay. Okay. Alright. Kind of seeing it. Kind of seeing it. Alright, everybody. Well, I think I'm going to bounce off here for the night. I got a couple of other production things I need to do, but I don't know if it'll make for good streaming content. So I think tomorrow night, or the next time I stream on here, whatever that is, maybe tomorrow night, maybe Thursday night, I want to do some like comp work, some post comp work, like just doing some effects and things like that, because I got some other sequences that are almost finished, and it would be nice to go ahead and start getting those finished. So I don't know, we'll figure it out. We'll figure something out. You know how we do. So, but anyway, I might do some daytime streaming tomorrow with some production live streaming. So anyway, I'm going to figure out a better setup too, because right now I'm kind of getting annoyed with this microphone being right here on my eyeball when I'm trying to draw. So I might have to figure something else out, but we'll get it done. We'll get there, you know. Anyway, appreciate you all coming out. Subscribe to the channel, all that kind of good stuff. Help us out here at Aurora, where we've got some goals here on the channel we're trying to hit. Really excited about where things are going. Excited about some new cast announcements this winter that we're working on. Excited on some other things too we got happening, some original music and some other stuff. So we're really building a big production here, and we're very excited. And you all know I'm working day and night getting things done, working on new stuff, working on new art, animation, all that kind of stuff. New promos. I'm editing some promos tonight. Here in about another hour, about 1 o'clock, I start editing new character promos. So I'm excited about getting those up tomorrow. So anyway, thank you all for the support. Follow us over on Discord. Talk it up, chat it up over there. Appreciate the hell out of all of you all. Have a great night. Be safe. Be good to each other. Keep rocking. And thank you for believing in Aurora. I appreciate you all. We will see you all down the road or on the next live stream. Take care.